I had mentioned earlier that this is National Catholic Schools Week, which is an annual celebration of Catholic education in the United States. It's now entering its 50th anniversary year, and it's traditionally held the last week in January. In this particular case, it started yesterday on Sunday, and it runs through February the 3rd. And so we're very happy today to be welcoming in both the newly named superintendent, I should say, of Catholic schools, as well as the current one as well. So I want to welcome two people in. Dr. Maisie McCoy is joining us. She is the newly named superintendent, and Dr. Deborah Haney is the current superintendent and will be the superintendent until the end of June. So thank you both so much for coming in. We appreciate your being here in studio. And it is a little bit of breaking news because, Dr. McCoy, you were just named as going to be the next superintendent just today. Just sent out the email to priests and close friends of the Archdiocese. So tell me, how excited are you now that you got this new position?
That's correct. Very excited. I have big shoes to follow after, of course. I need to fill Dr. Haney's shoes, but just very excited to continue the work that has started in our Catholic Schools office. Excited about working with the pastors and the principals and the teachers, just all of the school communities.
And you have an extensive background in education. Currently, you have an assistant superintendent role. Tell me about your current role and what you're doing.
Currently, I am the assistant superintendent of governance and leadership, which is a fantastic role. I enjoy working with, as I said earlier, the pastors. And so in this role, I'm able to work with the pastors and help them in understanding their role as a pastor of a parish school. Also, I get to work with new principals, so training the formation of new principals, making sure that they understand the policies and the procedures of our Catholic schools in this Archdiocese of Galveston-Houston. I also get to work with the second in commands, so whether those be assistant principals or team leaders, someone who is in charge if the principal is off campus. So making sure they also understand the policies and the procedures for our Catholic schools.
So it's a big role.
Yeah, and I can continue. I also get to work with the advisory school councils, which is also exciting. So those councils that advise the pastor and the principals on each local campus, just also working with them and making sure that they too understand the policies and the procedures and how they can best support the pastor and the principal on each campus.
Dr. McCoy, I know I said that you had a background in education, long history of it. Had you always wanted to get into the field of education ever since you were little?
I have always wanted to be an educator. So as far as I could remember, my goal was to become a teacher. I am the child who played school with dolls. So if you came to visit me, you knew what you were going to play. There was no option, right? Either you would be a student or you had a student, one of the dolls, right? So that was my lifelong goal. I also had a school bus, so my parents would laugh that that's the only goal I have not met yet because I rolled the people around on the floor in the kitchen. So yes, always wanted to be a teacher. I just love working with kids, love inspiring the next generation. And so just very blessed that God has blessed me with this new role, and so that I am able to hopefully have a positive impact on all of our Catholic schools in this Archdiocese.
Well, it's so great that you're so well acquainted with the area because Dr. Deborah Haney, who's also here with us, welcome back, by the way, to Catholic Lunch Break. You're going to be working with Dr. McCoy in this sort of transition period, which is really a blessing, I would think, because not necessarily people who take over such a big role in Catholic schools necessarily have that hands-on transition that can really help to have it, even over the course of several months.
That is very true. I'm one of those people.
Exactly.
So when I took over, it was a very quick turnaround, and then Hurricane Harvey hit. So I am thrilled that Dr. McCoy is in our office. She's familiar with the work we've done so far, and we will have 5.5 months to really just get to show her kind of what my role is and how it's different than what she currently does, and how we support our schools.
Dr. Haney, every time we have you on here, we always like to ask about kind of what some of the big challenges are for Catholic education because it's a new year, it's 2024, and we've had Catholic schools, of course, here for decades, but of course, with a new year comes new challenges. What do you think are some of the things that folks need to face here, I guess, that you guys face in your office?
I would tell you the challenges for Catholic schools today relate to parental support and also social media. I think technology, although it has many, many positives and has totally revolutionized our world, really, it also brings challenges. It's a distraction for students sometimes. Sometimes it takes them into places online that they shouldn't go. And so trying to best protect them and teach them right from wrong in the use of technology. So I would say, in my opinion, the use of technology and using it appropriately is probably one of our largest challenges, and then the impact it has on the children socially and emotionally.
Absolutely. It's a big challenge.
Trying to keep them in a healthy space.
Absolutely. If you're just now tuning in and joining us, you are listening to Catholic Lunch Break, where we are happy to be talking with Dr. Maisie McCoy, the newly named superintendent of Catholic schools, and Dr. Deborah Haney, the current superintendent. My name is Wyatt Goolsby. Dr. McCoy, Dr. Haney had mentioned a good point, which is the social media challenges, sort of the addiction, if you will, of our phones and all that can be a distraction. Do you find that to be true when you talk with pastors and in your current role as an assistant superintendent and trying to help them to be, to run Catholic schools more efficiently? Is that a challenge that you come across a lot? And how do you try to sort of address that problem? Because I think it's something that parents are dealing with, educators are dealing with. This is something that's widespread in our society right now.
Yes, so I think with all of our campuses, we're all seeing that challenge. We're all faced with that challenge. As Dr. Haney said, certainly technology is a tool for education, but how can we keep our children safe? And so one of the initiatives Dr. Haney has worked on this year with some parents with the Kuzma Foundation, which are parents from St. Vincent de Paul, and they have this wonderful team working with us in the Catholic Schools office to help keep our children safe with Smart Families Shaping Souls initiative. And so we have currently 17 of our elementary schools that are participating in this pledge. We're asking parents to take a pledge to not purchase a smartphone for their students until after the 8th grade. So, they can get a flip phone or, any other kind of phone, right? But it's the smartphone we're asking them not to purchase until the student has completed the 8th grade. And so 17 of our schools are participating. We provide professional development for the parents. We have speakers that come out to talk to the parents on brain development and how social media can have a negative impact on the developing brain. And so just trying to provide that support to the parents and providing as much education as we can.
A reminder for our listeners to pray for Catholic schools, because that is a big challenge, and especially this week during National Catholic Schools Week, to pray for all of those, the educators, the students, the parents, on that issue, because like I say, it's very important. I think I'd heard that term before. I think it's wait until 8. Is that what we're calling it?
Wait through 8th is what the national push was.
Okay,
and then
very
we
good.
kind of Catholicized that push. And that's why we changed the name to Smart Families Shaping Souls, because we really have infused a lot of Catholic identity into the program and really talked about what are the virtues of our Catholic faith that we need to be promoting in our students rather than kind of what some of the social secular pieces are. So it's been a great push for us. And we've just tried to say, your students shouldn't have access to the internet 24/7. And that's what a smartphone does for them. It gives them access to the internet. And that can be a scary place. And there's a lot of people out there who, unfortunately, don't want what's best for all of our children. And so we have to protect our kids from that. So
I want to mention that we have a very important fundraiser coming up for Catholic schools in the Archdiocese of Galveston-Houston. It's called Steps for Students. Dr. Haney, tell me a little bit about that event that's coming up.
Sure. February 10th at the Co-Cathedral of the Sacred Heart downtown. We have over 8,000 registrants right now, and we're excited. Hopefully we're going to reach that 10,000 mark. But it's just a great day to come and join with other Catholic school communities to support Catholic education. And you start at 6, I think Mass this year is at 7 in the Co-Cathedral of the Sacred Heart. And then the race begins at 8. after Mass and even after the race, we have a Catholic school village where all of our Catholic schools are present. And of course, Guadalupe Radio always joins us that day, and they're part of the village. And so people come together and talk about the beauty of our Catholic schools, the spirit that's alive amongst the families in our communities. And it's just a fun day. It's also a sanctioned race for people who like to run and they are trying to qualify for one of the bigger races. They can come and participate in Steps for Students and get a qualifying score. So it's a great day.
And we're looking forward to being there as well with the Guadalupe Radio Network. Again, Steps for Students. It's a 5K. You can do the run. You can also walk. They have options. So I encourage people to look up Steps for Students, again, through the Archdiocese of Galveston-Houston. Even if you don't do that, I think people can also do, I think, called Snooze for Students, where they make the donation, but they can't necessarily be there that morning in particular. So they have all of those options as well. Dr. Haney, there's another event you were going to tell me about that's upcoming as well.
Yes, we have a luncheon called A Pattern of Hope, and it's on March 1st. It's at the Junior League of Houston, and it's a beautiful luncheon, and we have a special speaker coming this year. Her name is Lisa Cotter, and she's a Catholic speaker and author known for her practical insights on relationships, femininity, and living the life with excellence. So she has a history of being a focused missionary, and she's continued her passion with faith with Catholics all over the world. She wrote a book called Reveal the Gift, Living the Feminine Genius, and Dating Detox, 40 Days of Perfecting Love in an Imperfect World. And she's on the Hallow app. She's been on EWTN, Formed.org, Steubenville conferences. So we're really excited that we are able to bring such a great speaker to our Catholic school communities and have lunch at the Junior League and just enjoy that time together.
Very good. And again, it's called A Pattern of Hope. Give me the date again for that one, Dr. Haney.
It is March 1st.
March 1st. Okay, very good. Excellent. Well, to round out our conversation here, Dr. McCoy, I want to ask you about just the importance in general of Catholic education. Tell me about just some of the important core values that make Catholic education special rather than maybe a secular or a public school. What is it in your mind that kind of stands out?
Well, I think one of the most important things is that we're forming the whole child. So we are preparing disciples, our future. We want to prepare our students for heaven, so not just for college, but for heaven as well. And so making sure that we are partnering with the parents in that. So we have excellent academics. We are preparing our kids for tomorrow. They can problem solve. They are critical thinkers. They can graduate from our high schools and go out and get any job that they would like. But we also want to make sure that our students get into heaven. And so that's very important in our Catholic schools. Our Catholic identity just permeates throughout all of our content areas. And so it's not only in the subject area, but also outside of the classroom. Our students provide service. Our students are active in their parishes. So just, again, partnering with the parents to form a well-rounded student who, again, can get into any high school, get into any university, but then we want to make sure that they're prepared and that they're accepted into heaven one day.
Sure. And if I may say myself, I really enjoyed growing up here in Houston and going to Catholic schools. I myself went to St. Vincent de Paul and then Strake Jesuit for high school, and I think it really helped to form me and give me a firm, solid foundation. So really appreciate both of you being in here. Dr. Macy McCoy, the newly named superintendent, you'll take over on June 30th, and Dr. Deborah Haney, the current superintendent of Catholic schools in the Archdiocese of Galveston-Houston. Thank you so much for being on the program. We appreciate you both being here.
Thank you for having us, Wyatt.